Hi class, welcome to your video on chapter 3. This is about parallel and perpendicular lines. We're going to start in the first section of chapter 3, section 3.1, talking about lines and angles. We really have two objectives in this section. We want to identify the relationship between lines and planes that do not intersect, and then we want to learn the names of angles formed by lines and a transversal. This section is going to be about a lot of definitions and really just identifying different types of angles and their relationships with other types of angles. All right, so let's start with some definitions. Parallel lines are coplanar, so that means they're in the same plane, and they're lines that do not intersect. So we use this symbol, this double vertical line, and what that means is parallel to. So like if you look here, what we're saying here is line AB and line CD are parallel to each other because they do not intersect. So in symbols, we would just say line AB is parallel to line CD. And excuse a little typo there, that's supposed to be a double line there. All right, skew lines are non-coplanar, all right, and they are not parallel and they do not intersect. So like for example, line CD here and line EA, these are skew lines. They're not in the same plane. They do not intersect, right? Like this one line, CD lines in this plane, EA lines in another plane. So we just say CD and EA are skewed lines. There's no symbol for that. We'll just call them skewed lines. Parallel planes. Now these are planes that do not intersect. So if like we look at this plane P and this plane Q here, we just see that planes P and Q are parallel planes. They do not intersect. So we would just say plane P is parallel to plane Q. All right, let's do an example. All right, so this example is about identifying lines and planes that do not intersect. So recall that each segment in the figure shown here, if you remember this figure here, what we're saying from a previous section here, this figure shown is part of a line, each segment. So as shown for like line GH, right, that one, this segment here of this figure represents a line. So let's answer the questions based on the appearance of this figure. All right, so A, which lines are parallel to GH? Which lines are skewed to GH? And also pass through point A. So they got to be skewed to GH and pass through EA. All right. Name any lines perpendicular to GH and name any planes parallel to planes CDHG. All right, so which lines are parallel to GH? There's a bunch. DC here, that's parallel to it, it'll never intersect it. AB is also parallel to it, it will never intersect it. And EF is also parallel to it, it will never intersect it. So which lines are skewed to GH and also pass through point A here? Well, there's AB, this one right here, it passes through point A and will never intersect GH. It's also not on the same plane as GH. And AE as well, that will never intersect HG and is also not in the same plane. Name any lines perpendicular to GH. Well, you're going to see that there's going to be a couple here. So perpendicular means it crosses it and forms a 90-degree angle. Well, DH, right there, that's perpendicular to it. CG is perpendicular to it. EH is perpendicular to it. And FG is perpendicular to it. So there's a bunch there. All right, name any planes parallel to CDHG. So a plane parallel to CDHG, it's got to be on the opposite side there. So that's plane ABFE, and that's, excuse the typo here, that plane is parallel to this plane as well. All right, so some definitions. Two segments are parallel if the lines containing them are parallel. So like parallel segments like this one, right? Because they do not intersect and the lines here are parallel to each other. And non-parallel segments here, all right, because when we extend their lines or segments, they intersect. All right, so these two segments, segments L and segment M, are parallel because when we extend their lines, they do not intersect. All right, that's how you know if segments are parallel. Another definition. A transversal is a line that intersects two or more coplanar lines at different points. All right, so like we have line L and line M, and this T is the transversal, all right, because they intersected here and here, all right. The figure below shows the 8 angles formed by the transversal T and the lines L and M right here. This is supposed to be an italicized L here, just so that's why they look a little different. All right, so we've got these on the inside here, all right, angles 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the interior angles, and the exterior ones are on the outside, so 1, 2, 7, and 8. All right, so just as I said, angles 3, 4, 5, and 6 lie between L and M. They are the interior, and angles 1, 2, 7, and 8 lie outside of L and M. They are what's called the exterior angles. All right, alternating interior angles are non-adjacent interior angles that lie on the opposite side of a transversal. So alternating interior. So 4 and 6 are alternating interior, and 3 and 5 are alternating interior. Right? Same side interior angles are interior angles that lie on the same side of the transversal. Right? These are sometimes called consecutive interior angles. So 4 and 5 are consecutive interior angles, and 3 and 6 are same side interior angles. Same thing, just call them different there. Corresponding angles lie on the same side of the transversal and in corresponding positions. Right? So corresponding angles are 1 and 5, 4 and 8, 2 and 6, and 3 and 7. All right, so they lie on the same side of the transversal in the corresponding positions. So like, for example, why 2 and 6 are corresponding. Here's a transversal. On line L, it's on the top right. Here's line M. With the transversal, it's on the top right there. That's what corresponding angles are. Alternating exterior angles are non-adjacent exterior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. Excuse me. So 1 and 7 are alternating exterior, and 2 and 8 are alternating exterior. Just on opposite sides of the transversal. That's what the alternating kind of stands for. All right, so let's do an example. I've got these two lines here, lines M and N, and they're cut by a transversal. So let's identify the alternating interior and the corresponding angles for this. All right, so the alternating interior angles, 8 and 5, those are alternating interior, and 2 and 3 are alternating interior. So the corresponding angle, there's a bunch. 7 and 3 are corresponding. 1 and 5, 8 and 4, 2 and 6, just by the definitions. All right, let's do another one. All right, so classify an angle pair. The photo shows the Hearst building in New York City. All right, the new tower showing many triangles here was completed in 2006. Fill in the blanks. All right, so angles 1 and 5 here. Right, those, notice that they're alternating because they're on opposite sides and they're exterior. Okay, all right. And 2 and 7, they're interior and they're on the same side of the transversal. So we call those 1 and 5s, those alternating exterior, because I said opposite on the outside, but alternating opposite sides. And same side interior, corresponding interior.